to the March 17th meeting of the Murfreesboro Historic Zoning Commission. Seeing that we have a quorum, I'll call the meeting to order. Amelia, anybody on the public comments portion?
No, sir, we did not have anybody request public comments today.
Okay, we need to approve the minutes from our February 17th meeting. Anybody have any changes, amendments? Okay, I'd ask for a motion for approval.
I actually had a point of clarification.
Sure, sorry, Stacy.
No problem. On page 2, on the paragraph that begins at the February 17th, 2026 meeting, I was unclear about the phrase "it was determined." Is that what everyone?
Page
Agrees.
22 of the minutes.
No, I'm sorry. Page 2 of the minutes. I'm not remembering the determination of that.
Oh, wait a minute. The meeting minutes from last meeting.
Yeah, February 17th.
Here.
Yes. I just thought that the
Okay.
use of that language was
Which paragraph?
the one beneath the list of 8. The 8 count list. Sorry. Okay, maybe it's someplace else. This is something else. Yeah, this.
Amelia, I believe it's page 3 of the PDF.
Of the last,
You're on page 140 of the PDF. If you go to page 3.
oh, the original,
Yes.
this one.
Yes.
Yes, that's where it is. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yes, so beneath the list of 8, where it says, that first sentence in the paragraph after that list of 8, it has some wording there that implies a determination, and I wasn't sure if that correctly encapsulates what happened. But if everyone else remembers it that way.
John, you want to weigh in on this?
I think your point is well taken, but by saying it was determined, that does imply that there was a formal vote by the commission to make that determination. And my recollection is I don't believe there was a formal vote by the full commission. It was more information flowing both ways, from the applicant and to the commission, and then from the commissioners individually to the applicant, but there wasn't, I believe, any formal action by the commission. So perhaps it could be amended to say
By staff.
the discussion included or something along those lines, rather than implying that there was a formal determination.
Okay.
And we could certainly amend those minutes, bring them back at the next meeting for further review by the commission to see if you choose to adopt it.
We need a motion for that amendment.
It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have a motion to make sure, to see if everyone agrees that amendment is necessary. It wouldn't be a bad idea, but not strictly necessary.
Stacy, you want to make that motion?
Yes, I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Ashley, will you call the roll? This is on the amendment, not the, will this approve the minutes as well, or?
No, the minutes will then be amended and brought back to you before the next meeting.
Okay.
For adoption then, I think would be the best practice.
So this is for the amendment. Ashley, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Bolden? Ms. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Busey? Ms. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Panesi?
Aye.
Vice Chair Belcher?
Aye.
Chair Davis?
Aye. Motion is passed. Before we get on to the business portion of this meeting, I'm going to throw it back to John for a little context for some of our newer commissioners.
Yes, I was just going to explain, and I'm sure Amelia will touch on this as well if she has a presentation, but just to explain kind of the procedural posture of this item before you. Mr. Chambers obviously will be making his presentation in a little bit. Mr. Chambers met with Ben Newman, the planning director, Amelia, and myself last week to discuss how he plans to proceed with his plans. He has a presentation that will go into not only what he plans to do with the house, but also some of the historic features of the house that he believes were or were not historic in nature. And my understanding from Mr. Chambers, and again, I'm sure he'll touch on this, is that he intends to seek the opinion of a structural engineer, because the plans that he is going to propose, at least in the opinion of planning staff, my understanding is the planning staff's opinion is the plans that he proposes do deviate fairly significantly from the plans that were approved by this commission, and also deviate from the way the house looked before the renovation began. So in order for those plans to be approved, Mr. Chambers, I believe, is electing to essentially seek a very belated request for demolition of the old house, which would allow greater deviation from the way the house looked previously. Essentially, the way the guidelines are written, any renovations or changes to an historic structure need to respect the way that that structure looked previously. However, when a structure is demolished, essentially, and we can get into the minutia of the guidelines certainly, but essentially, when a structure is demolished, if the standards for demolition are met, which we'll go into that, then the applicant, when they are building a new structure, does not need to follow the way that particular structure looked, but more it's the character of the neighborhood to make sure it's not incongruous with the surrounding houses. So my understanding from Mr. Chambers is a large portion of his presentation will be talking about the character of the neighborhood and surrounding structures. The relevance of that is presuming that this commission agrees that the standards for demolition were met, because effectively any historic character of that house has been removed at this point, so it has been effectively demolished. The path forward with the plans that he would like to do would be, if he can meet those standards for demolition, if he can, get the opinion from a structural engineer that the home was unsound, was structurally unsound, that is, and that therefore the economic hardship requirements spelled out in the guidelines could be met. If he can meet all of those criteria, then he would be able to present plans that do deviate from the way that particular structure looked previously. So that's just a very broad overview of at least my understanding of the procedural posture here, essentially. And I don't believe that there will be any necessity of a vote at the end of this. This is more for Mr. Chambers to explain his reasoning and to present these plans. And I think the goal would be to have kind of a workshop with the commission to see if he is able to prove the need for demolition, and that will be coming next month. So you're not going to see the evidence for demolition yet, because he still needs to have the structural engineer, issue their opinion, unless it's happened that I'm not aware of. Rather, assuming that he is able to prove the need for demolition, would these plans be acceptable in the eyes of the commission? The goal here, of course, is to try and allow Mr. Chambers to complete the house, but to do so in a way that is respectful of the historic guidelines. So now would be a good opportunity, if the commissioners have opinions about the way this house looks and whether this is fitting with the character of the neighborhood. If he can prove demolition, would these plans work, or would there be changes that the commission would like to see? Because if we can give him that direction now, then he won't have to wait another month after the April meeting to then come back to make further changes. Essentially, that's the goal today, of my understanding. Did I summarize that correctly, Amelia?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for John before we open up the? Okay, Amelia, will you introduce the applicant, please? I think we all know him, but I'd like to see him again.
Yes, sir. This is for 443 East College Street. Mr. Brad Chambers, it's an update of the status of the remodeling of an existing multifamily dwelling structure that was approved by the Historic Zoning Commission on April 16th, 2025. There were 25 conditions to be met for the renovations on the property at that April 16th meeting. On January 30th, building codes issued a stop work order until this could be resolved. Mr. Chambers is here. He does have a presentation to give today. We just wanted to make sure he had an opportunity to get before you all before he proceeded any further with anything different than where he was headed right now. So I
Okay.
will turn it over to Mr. Chambers.
Brad, tell us who you are.
And your address, please.
Yes, my name's Brad Chambers, 443 East College. Okay, can I pull this? Yeah. So this is the actual most original photo I could find of the house. So of the 9 things that I deviated from, actually only one of them. So if we look at this, it has smooth columns, brick around the front porch. The dormer's different. Obviously, all the windows have been changed or changed sizes. Doors were added where windows were, which is not in the guidelines. There's a better picture of the dormer, how it had 2 windows and was a different size, and looks like it had a 7-inch reveal on the siding. And then the front porch, there's like a window by the front door in the original, and the window sizes had changed, which I can prove that by the framing when we ripped the walls down. Also, that window was an insert probably in the 80s, and that just goes into more details of how the house had changed. But so it's obviously a lot different than what was original there. That's when I bought the house. It was it really ran down. I think we already talked about all that. So this is the plan for the new house. Same footprint. It's actually got originally we believe it was a full wraparound porch, not an L-shaped porch. So I put that back. And I just pushed back the addition that had put under the porch a little bit so you can get the full wraparound. And same pitch on the roof. The dormer's slightly larger than what I bought, and double doors. Also, the windows are different in my drawing. But let's see. So does it go with the neighborhood? I believe it does. Those are the top or the bottoms before the other my neighbors' houses were demoed, and they had a demo permit, and obviously they don't really resemble what was originally there at all. Mine is basically just a upgraded version of what I bought. There's other dormers. These are 5 or 6 houses down the street from me. So nothing's out of character with what I'm presenting. If you want, I can go through the materials, or what do you, I don't know.
I think so, yeah, keep going.
Okay. So I haven't purchased the door, but that's the look I'm going for. The door would be 6 foot wide, 8 foot tall. LP Smart board, which is the wood siding with a 7-inch reveal. Shingles on the roof except for the porch because of the pitch. It needs to be a standing seam, metal roof. 6-inch gutters. Those might change. So the front porch, I want to put concrete because we did leave some of the, like, that's still there, the original front wall. And just to support everything, I think it would tie in well with the concrete front porch. And then it also have 10-inch columns, squared. The original columns were not fluted. So these will also not be fluted. And then metal clad windows. That's kind of like a concept, but I made that myself. That's not drawn by an architect. But so that's all I have.
Brad, in the 1952 picture, was it an L-shaped porch then, or was it a wraparound? I can't really tell.
It was an L-shaped porch there as well.
Do you have reason to believe that it was ever a wraparound?
No, I don't know if that wasn't, I can't prove it was an addition or not an addition. What do you think? It was L-shaped.
It's always been L-shaped, yeah, okay.
I would rather keep it L-shaped like we have it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was just trying to
But
meet
it's
y'all
always
in the
been
middle.
a wraparound on the west side.
So so it'll look like a left.
Yeah, I believe you're correct.
No, so it won't be on the left side, it'll be on the right side. Just kind of like that picture is what I originally have. And that's very common around, like I said before, there's not any full wraparounds in the historical district. And most people that do have an L shape, it does lead into like a dining room or something like I have. It doesn't just end. It goes back into the house. So that's why I would like to keep it that way. There's a couple issues with doing the full wraparound, and it's right on the setback on my left side. Like once I got the property lines and stuff, it's basically on top of the neighbor. That's another reason I didn't want to do it, along with the mechanicals being over there.
But the plans that you're showing here include a wraparound on the left side and on the right, which isn't included.
Well, it's a concept. It's not, we're talking about it now. So, I mean, I would like not to have the wraparound. What?
I guess the point of doing a set of plans is so you have something to discuss from, and now you're describing changing from that? What's your,
Yeah, it's up for change right now. That's why we're talking
Okay.
about it.
This shows a wraparound.
No, it's
yeah.
not it's an L shape. It's
No,
not a
wrap.
full.
There's on
No.
the right side, there's an addition, which was there when you bought the house, and on the left, there's an extension that goes around, that's a wraparound.
It's an L. It doesn't go. It's not a U.
Well, only because the one end was enclosed, but
But was it originally enclosed?
that I don't know.
That's what we
know
think
that
that's
in
what we think.
1914, it had a wraparound on the left side, because that's in the Sanborn maps.
So I just want to be clear. When you say wraparound, you're talking both sides. Are we talking one side?
It would appear it had it
One side.
on the left side or the west side, it was a wraparound open porch. On the right side, it's a matching structure that was enclosed evidently for a kitchen or something. But it wraps around on both sides, at least in this photo and what you acquired, is my understanding. No?
I don't think it was ever
But even if the wrap just goes one bay,
But-
isn't that still a wraparound? Because on the, facing the house on the left side, it wrapped 2 or 3 bays.
It wrapped three columns.
Okay, so
And on
if I'm
on
getting the.
right, it was
if-
1 bay plus then the addition filled.
You're correct, Ruth. Yeah,
That's just what I understand, so I'm asking,
Yeah.
is that correct?
yeah.
I'm not in control.
But if the retro demolition is approved, then that would make us, then we're not looking at trying to make it identical, but in keeping with the rest of the block and the general flavor of this architecture of the street then, correct?
Yes.
Well, along those lines, to me, the drawings that we have, they have modern elements that do not match the street and that block of the street. And I know there are other houses in the historic district that have double doors, but not on this portion of the street. I don't,
Yes.
this block.
Yes. If I can get control of the thing again.
Well, and just to finish, also, the width of the windows are more of a modern flavor.
There's-
I mean, the dormer, but these are further.
Further down
not
the
in
street.
Further down, not in the same block.
No. These are within 4 houses of me. And they all have 3 windows, just like I'm trying to do on that bottom right picture. On the house with the double doors, they got 3 basically the same size windows as I'm trying to do, maybe even taller. So that house is 4 houses down from the subject
I have a
property.
question about the, oops,
And
can you go
and
back
then
to the previous slide?
those are my neighbors. So
But if you look on the house to the right of the house in question here, the windows and doors are narrow, which is, to me, in more keeping with the street. And also the column style, and I don't have anything against the modern windows, the modern doors, and the modern style of columns, but they are modern. The columns with just the flat capital and base is a modern element instead of having a Doric capital and a base with, I'm not sure how you say that different.
what I'm showing is exactly what it has in the old picture.
No,
Flat.
no, it isn't.
Okay, can you tell me how it differs?
Because that capital, I would say it's a Doric capital. It's
A simplified one,
Simple.
yeah.
Or
And if I get
simple
the
Doric plain
retro
capital.
demolition, but like you said, why are we comparing every little detail to the old photos?
Well, my point is that if the demolition is approved and we're looking at approving just a new drawing, when we get to that point, I was pointing out the things that I think for the house to fit in the street, the items that I find as a modern elements. Not that I don't like them, but I just don't see them fitting with the street, was my point.
Well, I mean, it's a 2026 remodel, so
Well, but if you look at the house to the right, it has columns that are similar to, say, this house and the door and window sizes.
okay. I just showed houses within 4 houses of me that have exactly what I'm doing.
Could you give me the address for those?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
It's on East College. I don't have the exact. Actually, I think the porch number is on one of them. 315.
So a
On
block
one of them?
down?
It's not on down. It's 4 houses down, I believe, maybe 5, depending how you.
3 would be a different.
3 is a different block,
Different
yeah,
block.
yeah.
I mean, I imagine we don't need to solve this
Well, no,
issue
we
right
don't.
now.
I was
'cause
just
we're not-
curious
we're not
because
there yet.
you're showing segments of it. I mean, Brad, I appreciate that you went the research to look at the history of the house.
And wait, I gotta say something. When
Okay.
I was told, pull up pictures of houses, you said, on your street. You said, not, don't pull them from East Main. You said East College. So,
Okay. I'm just asking the question where that was, because on that, the blocks are slightly different in terms of the scale and the size of the houses and the detailing within them. I mean, I appreciate that you pulled up information that gave us some historical comparison for the building, and I realize I'm approaching it from the standpoint of the earlier certificate of appropriateness, not what we've discussed necessarily potentially today. But I think it actually supports why the building was contributing, not that it wasn't. I would not come to the same conclusions that you did. And maybe that's a moot point in terms of the way we're now approaching this.
No, it is not moot. Again, the plans that Mr. Chambers proposed likely would only be approved by this commission if the demolition standards are met, which they have not been met yet.
Okay.
Mr. Chambers is still acquiring that evidence. And so it is entirely possible that if this commission determines that the evidence is insufficient to support demolition, then he would have to go back to the plan previously, which was to either build the house, to bring the house back to the condition in which it was in before he began the renovations,
Okay.
or to move forward with the condition of appropriateness and make the changes that this commission permitted previously without any deviation. Now, he could request that the commission make some amendments to the certificate of appropriateness, but all of those changes would, under the guidelines, have to be tied back to the history of this particular house and the changes that were made to this house over time. And so in that instance, it doesn't matter what his next door neighbor looks like. All that matters is the history of this particular house and bringing
Right.
it back to there. And so it should be noted that it is entirely possible that that will be the ultimate conclusion of the commission if the demolition permit is not granted.
Okay.
So again, this discussion is becoming a little complicated because of
It
that.
is.
I know we're talking about
It
two
is.
different tracks that are possible here.
Okay.
So it is relevant, and I think to discuss if there were changes that Mr. Chambers wanted to request the certificate of appropriateness if demolition is not granted, what that would look like. But that's up to Mr. Chambers if he wants to go down that road. If he's adamant that these are the only plans he wants to present, then he's kind of putting all his eggs in the basket of the demolition being granted. So.
Well, I think it's helpful to have the photograph. And again, I appreciate that you did the research on that. And then I tried to find it, and I found it on Facebook. And so then you try to look at it in detail. And I think it on the one hand, it affirms a lot of the elements that were physically there in 2025 that made that building contributing, which is what the commission was wanting to have restored in the April meeting, was part of the list of items. It also gave us some new clues, which were things that are different, which you also observed, and that includes that the dormer had, two windows as opposed to one, which we all agreed was somewhat an unsightly window. But so I'm like, oh, that looks better. So there's some flexibility there, but it's still the same size of dormer as what we currently had in 2025.
it's not. It's not the same size.
And
I can, I'll prove it to you if you want me to.
it could be close. It's not as big as what you're now talking about. That
Right.
definitely is the case. The
Wait,
wraparound,
what do you want me to show?
no, I guess my only point with you is that the house was contributing before. And I know you're asserting that you believe based off this photo that it was not. But I think if you look at the shadow lines that you can see on this photograph, you would determine that, in fact, what was there in 2025 is original and made it contributing. The wraparound at the bottom, which is a clue to something different, is a form of a pressed metal cladding that would have been wrapped around the foundation. They still make that product. I'm just saying, these are good things that you can find out and say, okay, where's there may be some flexibility in what's potentially there. But I want to at least be on the record to say, the building was contributing. And the fact that you have the information, to me, simply supports that, not refutes it,
So
with some identifying other clues that say, oh, and there may be these changes that occurred that we also could consider. So I just want to put that
According
in
to
the
the
record.
Tennessee Historical Commission's, on the house I did across the street, alterations to the doors, siding, windows, and columns will be considered not contributing. Okay, so if we go back here, we got steps to a door that used to be a window,
Well,
a window that's missing. All the windows are different sizes. The dormer's different size. Where's the two windows? Different pitch. The columns aren't the same. It's got lattice. There's a door on the left side that just got added. So
if you look at the front door, and if you look at the picture in 1952, if you really look at it closely, what you think is a window is actually that door, and next to it appears to be an open screen door, which is why it looks different. I'm just saying I want to be clear that what we had originally was contributing, and most of those elements were there and present in 2025.
where's it?
And all historic houses or houses that are old are changed over time. They're changed
Yes.
due to the needs of the family or the style of that time. You
So-
look at Oakland's was not originally an Italianate house, but they added Italianate elements because it was probably because it was popular at the time. And so that's part of a house, the historic.
So it's
Nature
historic
of
as
the
long
house.
as it's not Brad doing the remodel?
No, no.
If I may jump in briefly, the historic guidelines, to your point, Ms. Bolden, in section 6B do make very clear, they say, quote, "Changes which may have taken place in the course of time are evidence of the history and development of a building, structure, or site and its environment. These changes may have acquired significance in their own right, and this significance should be recognized and respected," meaning that changes to the house over time can acquire historical significance, which means that those changes should be preserved themselves. In the eyes of the commission, there are changes, obviously, that may not acquire historical significance, depending on what they are. But to your point, Ms. Bolden, you're absolutely right. Changes to these houses themselves become historical and should be respected.
Okay, so why, when I get done with it, why won't it still be historical or in that same field?
It seems like the commission has pointed out a number of modern elements that are being added to the house, which are not historical at all. So those wouldn't be changes that acquire historical significance.
It was a single family, and then all of a sudden it's a fourplex.
That's the use of the house. That has nothing to do with the structure, though.
The structure's the same.
Well, I mean, the whole reason we're here is the structure's not the same, right? The structure's been
The
pretty
footprint of the
substantially
house is the
changed.
same.
I'm sorry?
The footprint of the house is still the same.
Yes,
The house was burnt, so we've replaced what was there with a
Right.
couple of changes.
Right. Yeah, as we discussed last week,
Right.
the reason
So-
why we're here is because
So if I
we're
get,
assuming you're going to be able to prove that the structure was unsound and needed to be demolished. And if that is the case, then your plans can deviate from what was presented before. That's why we're here.
so the plans I have are within the guidelines. Some maybe subjective opinions, but everything that I want to do is in the guidelines of what, like new construction, or if you had a demo permit, would be approved for. So,
So I would suggest that if there are elements of Mr. Chambers' plans that are presented here that are problematic in the eyes of the commission, I think there was a mention of the windows, for example, that we give him specific guidance as to what those elements are and how they could be changed to make them acceptable, again, assuming, this is a large assumption, assuming that the demolition permit is proven, not permit, that the guidelines for demolition are met, and that he is able to present these plans for new construction, which do not necessarily tie the plans to the way the house looked previously. I think it would be helpful for Mr. Chambers for us to give him feedback. If these plans are acceptable, then great. He can move forward with getting that evidence for the demolition. If there are problems with the plans, though, now would be a good time, I think, to give him specific guidance as to how to amend them.
This may be a question for Mr. Newman instead of you, John, but the zoning is RS8, and the street has a dozen multifamily. You know, so when you buy a house that has been converted to multifamily and decide to go back single family, I mean, are they grandfathered? If they once they go back single family, Ben, are they grandfathered in for?
The historic zoning district overlay, the uses that are allowed in the underlying zoning is still allowed in the historic zoning district, if that answers your question. It would be the same whether the historic zoning district is there or not. It doesn't add or take away uses to the area.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So if I understand this, we're going under this rough assumption that a request for demolition could be granted based on additional research that will be provided at a later time.
Yes.
Okay. So what we're doing right now is looking at this house. Does this fit this proposed floor plan? Does this fit the general area of the neighborhood? Does this fit the other houses in the neighborhood? And if there's changes that we think would make this more appealing to that, is that what I'm understanding? Okay. So we mentioned the windows. There's something else about the windows?
Door, the columns.
So if we could specifically call out what the issues are with the windows, the doors, columns, any particular features, what the problems are with what's presented and how that could be fixed, I think that would be helpful for Mr. Chambers.
Let's do one at a time. Can we do the windows?
That makes sense.
Sure, and I know that he's shown pictures of windows along the street. I'm going to have to just go back and look and see in which block they are, and if the windows, I may see something different. But the width, the width of the windows to me is not typical of this portion of the street, and the double doors is, well, I jumped ahead, but the double doors is not typical of this portion of the street. And the style of columns, which are more modern. And I like all those elements. I like your work, but just not here.
Well, does it fit in the guidelines? Yes.
Well, new construction shall be consistent with the existing buildings along a street in terms of height, scale, setback, rhythm, relationship of materials, texture, details, and color, roof shape, orientation, and proportion and rhythm of openings.
And that's from section 7B of the historic guidelines. So that, as that section points out, the plans presented need to be consistent with existing buildings, but there can be some variation, obviously. So, and that is in the discretion of the commission to decide what is consistent with the buildings in the area.
Well, I think another question to ask, and I know that you showed pictures that were close up, so I couldn't recognize exactly which houses they were from, but this is a bungalow style and would not have the exact same features as a Foursquare or, a Queen Anne. And so I think that in terms of trying to come up with what it would be consistent with, we would have to kind of look at houses that are styled like this kind of bungalow style, which would have, I think, traditionally different style windows than some of the differently planned houses that were built in different.
The house 2 doors down, what house does that match?
I'm sorry?
Where did that plan get approved from?
Which one is 450?
451 is 2 houses down.
Oh, well, that's a non-contributing
Well, this is what we're
modern
talking,
build.
this is what we're talking about. If I get the demo permit, it's
Well,
The big,
that was a question for a commission of the past on that one. I don't know.
can't answer that question.
I'm just making the point, if we're going to be talking about consistency, then I just wanted to say that we want to look at consistency in terms of like that style, since you are respecting the footprint and the porch and the dormer.
there's a lot of houses that have the 3 windows, just like I'm doing. Here's another one that I've just been given. Looks just like my house. It's 315. I know it's on the phone, but I don't have that on the presentation. It's very common. 3 windows in the dormer.
Okay,
3
I was,
windows.
if you wanted to go back to the slide that had the different,
That I didn't have, I was just pulling a couple houses from, 3 or 4 houses down from me. I didn't go down the whole street and
Do you
make
want
a
me
whole
to pull that
PowerPoint
up for you,
comparison.
Stacy?
Probably be helpful.
Maybe I don't have that. Show my screen, please.
It should be noted, this is the next block to the west, about, I think it's 12 houses.
Yeah.
315 is,
315.
you're right. Like that, the one with the, I don't know what you want to call that, the 4 window, well, they got 2 of them on 4s. The one on the top left, that one's like 2, 3 houses down from me and on the left. Same thing with the one on the top right. Those are all on the same block.
okay, I am recognizing a couple of them now. What about the one that is on the right-hand column, second row?
Second row. That was the one that's 515 or 315. No, wait. I can't see. It's the same house. It's Highland, and then there's this house. That's the house. I'm 515. I'm 3 houses down from that one. 4 houses down. That house
On the
is
corner of Highland.
on the corner of Highland.
Oh, much different house. Okay. Yeah, design-wise.
Different block.
Yeah.
White House. It's white.
Can we compare my house to the other my 2 neighbors that look nothing like what was originally there? And
I think our attorney here can speak to this, but I think that's a valid point, that it doesn't have to, the demolition is approved and you bring forth plans to approve for a new build, then my understanding is correct. It does not have to look exactly like it did before.
Correct. Yes. And also, it does not have to look like his neighbors. It just has to be consistent with the existing buildings in the
okay,
area.
so let's go down here. And this is, like I said, how does that not blend in with how does that not blend with the neighborhood? It looks really good.
I'm not arguing that it's an attractive home, the one on the left. It was that it's not replicating, which was the original intent, the original house. It has some elements of it, and what I see in your design here is based off of the conceptual, rough concept house, as opposed to the original house, even though there are similarities to it. So I feel a little bit, it's frustrating because we're like doing 2 tracks at once
Yes.
here. So it's like, on the one hand, if you want to, you could make still a beautiful home being compliant and replicating what was there. You can also make a beautiful home making something completely new. And we don't yet know which direction, I take it, that we're going with this. And you're seeking feedback sort of in advance of,
Yes, the cart is a little bit in front of the
It
horse
is,
in this
yes.
meeting. But I think for Mr. Chambers' benefit,
I understand.
it will be good for us to just assume, it's a large assumption, that he has proven that demolition was required, that the structure was unsound, the house was about to fall down, it was dangerous, and would have been a massive economic hardship for him to repair it. Okay? So we have to make that large assumption that he's able to prove that.
Okay, I
Assuming that he
understand.
can prove that, then I guess the question is whether the plans that he's presented, not that photograph, that's something that's not the architectural plans. It's whether the plans that he's presented
Right.
would be allowed if the house was completely razed to the ground and he was building a new structure there.
Understood.
Would this be acceptable? Or are, even if that were the case, are the columns too modern? Are the windows too modern? Is the dormer, too incongruous with the neighborhood? I guess that's kind of
Okay.
the question that we should.
Well, the focal point of
Try and focus on.
this set of plans and the rough concept is different in the sense that what you're making the focal point of the house is the dormer and the front doors, so that central portion of the house, as opposed to the original house was all about the porch, long and
But
horizontal.
we're not talking about the original anymore.
I know, but there's a parallel track here, so I'm just making a comparison, Brad. I'm not. One difference here in terms of just critique then on this, which is you're seeking feedback. You've got 8 columns instead of 6, which is a bit much, in my opinion. If you could rebalance that in a different way,
I'll take the side porch off.
which I wouldn't also recommend. I think it gives it some balance, and even your rough concept has it on both sides. And it looks unbalanced if you took it off. So the symmetry is important. The other concern I'd have, and I recognize that there's a reason for the interior why you have it this way, but where you have the sill at different heights on the windows on the front is also concerning to me. And I know that we don't get involved with the interior, but you did share a plan with us when you were last meeting discussing some of your changes. You could flip your dining room and your kitchen, and you could do the kitchen in the extension, and this could be a lovely dining room, and you could then have windows that were the same height on the front as opposed to having sills that are different. I think that's in front of a sink or something in your kitchen. So that's certainly something you could modify to make it more amenable. If you do a wraparound porch, which is the way the house was back in the day when everybody had porches on the south and the west, you could put a door from whatever this room is on the left-hand side, which is there was a door there originally, would make exit out to a nice private porch area. Just throwing out some feedback, Brad, that you're asking for. If you were reviewing this just independently
I
of
believe that's
any other
subjective
discussion.
matter, though. That I think it follows the guidelines.
So
I mean, if that's how you wanted to build it, that's great. But this is
you
my
asked for
plans.
feedback. I'm simply giving it to you.
I really liked the columns on the picture you had up before, where the side by side of the old house, and then it's a different conceptual drawing of the others. I like those columns because they look more historic instead of modern.
You're talking about the rough concept drawing. Yeah.
That they look like they're Doric columns, and the bases look, yeah,
That's how they're supposed to be in the plans.
They're
That's-
not.
they're not like they're that now.
Okay.
Look at the capital, that's what Ruth's talking about.
And the-
Look
Well,
at the
that's
window
no
heights
problem. I
and the
like that,
sill
too.
heights. That's not the same.
Okay, so it sounds like the height of the sill of the front windows and the capital on the top of the columns would be 2 items
Yes.
that would help to make the plans more consistent with the buildings around it
And having the porch on either direction, which,
and maintain the porch on either side.
yep.
And there are fewer columns on this drawing.
Yes, there's
which
only
looks
6, which is
balanced.
like the original was. It's more balanced. The other one is not.
Okay? So 6 versus
It's an
8 columns
opinion.
would be another point of feedback. 'Cause I think it is important to note that This feedback is for Mr. Chambers' benefit.
It is.
Because if he were to prove the demolition was necessary at the next meeting and then present these plans, the commission might just deny the plans because they are not consistent with the buildings around him, in which case he would have to come back another month after that with new revised plans. So the purpose of this meeting is not to pick apart his plans or to nitpick, but to give him feedback on maximizing the likelihood of his plans being, of these plans being approved by the commission,
Well put.
if he could prove the requirements for demolition.
So I'm hearing three main things, I think, from the commission. Windows being uniform in height and width, columns go from 8 to 6, and I'm sorry, I don't understand why problem with the double doors.
Well, when we were looking at it before as remodeling, not a demolition, then I do think that's a big change, to change it from a single door with the transom above to the double doors. I don't recall exactly what every door looks like on that portion of the block or on that portion of college. If we go from demolition to, go from remodel to demolition, I'll just have to look at the street. But that does not bother me as much. I think the picture that we're looking at here is lovely.
Okay, right. So I think the left side porch, I don't think that should be there. It's just like how I originally had it. It really does not.
Well, this
has it.
one
No.
has a slight wraparound, and
Yes,
so
it
that,
Yeah, on the right side, but not
On the left
left
side as well.
No, it
does.
doesn't.
Look where the angle comes down. It has it on both sides.
No, it doesn't.
yeah, I don't think so on the
On
left.
the left side.
But
On the
So
drawing.
if this plan, that works.
It's just the angle of it.
it's
Yeah,
just
it's
one
on there.
opinion. Yes, that works for me.
Okay, great.
I would recommend you pursue your demolition and see what you can get done on that end. And I really don't think we're that far apart.
And I really do appreciate your trying to make this look more in keeping with historic character than those two neighbors that you referenced. That those are done. Those are not in question here. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that you're trying to maintain this.
Okay, my only question is, if I'm within the guidelines, then does it not become your opinion of what you like versus my opinion of what I like? So how does
I
that,
understand.
so you say, oh, I don't like your windows being different heights or whatever. Well, the guideline doesn't say anything about the front windows being different heights. So that's your opinion. It's not in the rule book.
Well, it's not about what they like, it's about what's consistent with the character of the area, right? I mean, the guidelines, are, especially for new construction, they're all anchored in what is consistent with the surrounding area, as we read to you. And so if you can present evidence that all of the houses in the surrounding area have double doors, for example, then you're right, that would be something that would be acceptable. But if, I'm looking at the Google Street View and I don't see very many houses
but
with double doors, for
Like I
example.
said again, the guys that got demo permits to the right of me look nothing like any of the houses. And that's what's surrounding me. So that's the closest ones to me.
Right, just because your next door neighbor did something improper does not make it
Improper. You approved it. Y'all approved it. How is that improper?
I don't know for sure that it was approved. I don't know that we have evidence of that. We can look into that if you'd like.
Wait, this is. So the two guys that built the houses next to me, they didn't get approved plans from y'all? What?
Wasn't my, we're on the commission.
Then what am I doing here?
I don't know.
Yeah, but
But Ms. Belcher, you were on the commission, weren't you?
Yes, but that particular structure to the right, I do not remember it coming before us, but that doesn't mean that it didn't. I don't remember that it did. Do
They
you?
both did, and we
They did?
approved
Okay.
both of them.
Okay.
Okay.
So pursue your
Just like the
Demolition.
rough concept.
pursue your demolition.
I'm his project manager, and I'm the one that does all the construction. He has the vision.
Tell
I
us
do
your
the
name,
construction.
please, for.
I'm Clayton Miller,
Okay.
and I live in Bell Buckle, but we do a lot of work here in Murfreesboro. But I just need to understand, because, we have hired an architect to do these drawings, and what I need to understand is that if the rough concept, you agree to that, and we take it back to the architect with the 6 columns, the window sizes in the front, are you good with it? Because we don't want to spend any more money fixing this drawing, and then we come back in April, oh, we don't like that now. So what I'm trying to get with this is, if we were to do the rough concept, are you okay with it?
It's a fair question. I mean,
No, it is a
do we
fair
feel like it fits the neighborhood with what he's got within this rough concept here? Because the rough concept is a little different than this.
It is.
With the windows and
It
the
is.
columns and all that, but we keep coming back to this here. Do what?
And the question of whether or not this is a wraparound for.
Well, it's not a wraparound.
That's-
It's
yeah.
clearly not a wraparound.
Well, currently, the rough concept is not. It's not. It is
What
on
did
the
you
right
say?
side, but not the left side.
Speak up, come to the mic a
Yeah,
little bit.
so
Yeah, I can't hear.
currently, the wraparound is on the right side,
Yes.
the way it is on the architect drawing, but on the left side, it is not. It's kind of like this rough concept right here. It's just straight all the way back.
Way more sense for it to be like that. Way more sense. You're not in the neighbor's yard, you got room to have your mechanicals and everything else.
I'll say again, Brad, pursue your demolition.
Because honestly, I think the architect, the demos, we've been and worked with them, and I don't think it's going to be a problem. But there again, we want to come back in April, and we'd like to, get this thing finalized so we can move forward.
Come up, Brad. Thank
Can
you.
I
Appreciate
please
it.
drive this in? It's just getting rained on for the last 2 months, and they want me to wait another month. The thing's flooded. Like, I might as well just demo it if we wait any longer. Everything's gonna be, I already had to throw all my wood away that was supposed to be finished. It just warped. It's been sitting there.
I believe it was at the last meeting, you were instructed that you could put tarps over it.
Tarp, dude, that lasted about 2 seconds.
Okay.
It's not, there's not a roof that you tarp. It's just joist. And then the water gets in and then it rubs and the whole thing's ripped apart and the wind's blown it off.
So what are you requesting to do?
I want to dry it in. I want to put a roof on it, at least.
It presumes a lot.
Right, that you are presuming that you were going to be able to prove that you meet all the criteria for demolition. And you are taking the risk, if you do that, and you come back and you're not able to prove the criteria for demolition, you'll have to take that roof off and put it back to the way the house looked previously.
So am I getting the work stop, whatever, lifted so I can dry it in?
That would be a question for Mr. Newman.
And then my other question, am I still being fined?
Yes, the fines are continuing to accrue.
Okay. Even though we're agreeing on something? I thought that was the thing. We come back, you agree that we're moving forward, and the fines get lifted.
I think that'd be a question for Mr. Newman. I don't know what the status is.
This meeting is to give feedback to Mr. Chambers. I think any other discussions are really after the fact. and we talk about it.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I just have one more question. So if we were to dry it in, which, he's absolutely right, but are you okay with the footprint that's in the back? I get it in the front, because that's what we're focusing on, the front. But if we dry it in, that means we have to finish up the framing, finish up the subsiding, put a roof over the back and so forth. Are you okay with that?
We don't have anything to do
I don't
with
think we have anything to do with the
Okay,
back.
so.
I
so
should
in-
say that the
in
guidelines
question-
do make clear that they say in subsection B of section 7 that the facades visible from the public right-of-way of proposals for new construction are more carefully reviewed than other facades, meaning that the other facades are not as closely scrutinized.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we're just worried, what I understand is just the front of the building.
If we were under.
This is assuming that demolition is
under
proven.
the original
Correct.
thing, you were approved to do an expanded dormer, which would not be a full 2-story addition on the back. So that's the only thing we have not discussed. I mean, right now, it's
Correct.
flush with the back wall. It's really a two-story addition with a shed roof.
But from my understanding of the guidelines, you don't have anything to do with the
It
the
has to
back
do with the
and.
view from the public right-of-way. I mean, you are. it is
And then if you
very
look in the new
visible,
plans,
vertical-
there is an 18-inch. I am going to take down the full back. I think it honestly looks better now that I got it up, and I'm going to bring it in. It is going to be a dormer.
Yeah, originally it was going to be 3-foot inset from the wall.
gonna be
Now
18 inches.
Parallel width. No,
But
3
it's-
foot was in the original, but, because it was supposed to look less intrusive. I realize
Well,
that's,
it's 18 inches, and then you got the overhang, so it is 3 foot, over 3 foot.
It's right at 3 foot. So, if you do the eave, that's 18 inches, and we're bringing in, say,
and
18
originally,
inches.
an original dormer would have been like 10-foot deep instead of 18-foot deep. So, I mean, those are things that we would have considered if we were on track one, which maybe we are not. So I'm just giving you that input, that's all.
Right, right. And I should note, the guidelines do say that, and this is the alterations, but the language is fairly similar to the new construction, that, again, exterior work from facades visible from the public right-of-way are more carefully reviewed, but it does not say that other facades are not reviewed, right? So if demolition is not granted by this body, if Mr. Chambers is not able to meet the criteria for demolition set forth in the guidelines, then that rear facade would be within this body's purview to bring back to the condition that it was in before the.
I think we would probably
Yeah.
be okay with what he did in the rear. It's not visible from the right-of-way.
Okay.
And like the front, if we're going to dry it in, we won't put any metal on it, we won't do any asphalt shingles, but we will put some tar paper or something like that down so it can be easily ripped up and so forth, so, or synthetic felt or something to keep it at least dried in, because it is just tearing it apart, what we've done so far.
Okay. Anything else?
I think we're good.
I got to get some clarification. On the front porch, we have already veneered it. Are we okay with that?
Veneered in which configuration, I guess would be the question for the body.
Bricked it.
Are you leaving it as it is?
Yes.
Opinion, no. But
With the
it's like a
tick
calico.
marks.
Like,
No. What?
Can't paint brick in the historic district. If it's not already painted, you can't paint it. Newly, you can't paint it.
Her house is brick painted.
If it was before 1984, when, I don't know when your house was built.
It's 451
It's fuel sold house.
451? So you at the fuel house? I didn't do that one. I don't know. I didn't do that
I'm
one.
just saying, if he starts over and it's demolished, then you can paint brick. My house is
That's not the way I read the ordinance. It states plainly that unless it's already painted, you cannot paint brick in the historic district. Different people.
Go back to that picture of the front.
Sorry?
Go back to that picture of the front, the concept picture.
It's a cream-colored house with a cream-colored brick. The house and the brick match. Well, basically.
close, yeah.
But if I leave it like it is, I assume we paint the brick. So if you've seen it, I'm not going to leave it like that. It's mixed match.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's why I asked the question, Brad.
I mean, we're trying to save money. I mean, we're putting a ton of money in this thing. And
I understand.
anywhere we can save money by putting bricks that we've had in the past, and we use them and we pay them, we do it a
I
lot.
appreciate that. I appreciate that.
I will note that the prohibition on painting of brick does seem to me to only be in the guidelines, under the guidelines for alterations and not for new construction. So unless it's elsewhere in the rules of procedure, then it's possible that that would be permitted
On a new build.
on a new build. But guidelines for alterations would not permit the painting of brick.
Understood.
With that information, I think painting the brick would be lovely.
Thank you.
Yes.
We need to build a porch.
And, no, it's good. And the concrete porch is fine.
Your neighbor next to you has a wood porch with a brick foundation, is that not correct?
Like I said before, well,
I'm just asking a question.
yes, he does have wood.
It
But he
looks very
also
nice.
doesn't have the original front wall from whenever this was built, 20, that we kept. And
There are several that have concrete tops.
Yeah, there are, I grant, I've walked
And
the
they both
street to
have
see.
wood in, I mean, it's like 50/50. But it makes a difference to us because.
It does, I
I
understand.
can't move forward even with the porch without knowing what you want for the top.
Did you, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but did I hear you say something earlier about the purpose of the concrete was to stabilize that
yeah,
front
so
wall?
if we go back here, we reframed it,
That wall's
but
still
that
there.
wall's original.
That wall's still there, okay.
So if, pour concrete and the brick and everything else, it's going to tie it in.
I mean, that's within reason to me if it is y'all. I mean, I understand the stability of that. That's not going to hold. That brick's been there a long time. I know we're not making a motion or anything. I'm just-
Right. No, the whole purpose is just to
Yeah,
let
just-
him know.
I think
Your
my
thoughts.
personal opinion, I think that would be in reason from a structural standpoint, because you've got to add some structural stability there, because that's holding up the whole front of this house.
The architect can put it in.
I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
I said the architect can put that information in her drawing. Which, like I said, my goal is just when we come to April, man, we're all happy. And we can just move forward, we learn from our lessons, and we just move on. So, but I just got to make sure that the next set of plans, because every time we take it up to her, it's just like more money, so.
Anything else? I would say pursue your demolition.
Thank you.
Anything else before the commission today? If not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Ashley, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Bolden?
Aye.
Ms. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Busey?
Aye.
Ms. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Panesi?
Aye.
Vice Chair Belcher?
Aye.
Chair Davis?
Aye. We are adjourned.